Yes, 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 yes. Welcome back again on IESF 14 World Esports Championship Bali 2022. We are on the fire stage for PUBG Mobile. 2 more rounds for today. And we're gonna get the 11 team that will go to the next round. Oh. Another question about chicken? Tentang ayam? Enggak? Nanti, ya. Alright guys, let us take to the question that will lead the game for today. Please welcome my marvelous friend, Aldoge and Chichu.
Thank you so much, Mas Gary Eka, an amazing host. Even one of the biggest team in Indonesia said that he is the #1 of esports hosts in Indonesia. So back again with us, Eldoge and also Chu here. We are going to the second game, which is the last 2 games for Group B versus C, which is Miramar. But before we are going to Miramar, what do you think about these last 3 games, Chu?
Oh, I mean, like last 2 games, yeah, honestly.
Oh, last 2 games.
We're
Sorry.
done with the first one. We're
Yeah.
done with the first one. Definitely, there's so many pillows right now in the venue.
Definitely.
That's the biggest thing that we're actually witnessing.
Yep.
There's so many pillows everywhere. We're not having a slumber or pillow party, but it's just for the players to be very comfortable.
Yeah,
It
very
just shows that so many players taking it seriously. We're going to predict right now. I hate predicting. I'm going to say hate is a strong word because I might jinx the team.
Yeah, that's what I did from the previous game. Iraq, I'm predicting, but they are going to Sonaria. But yeah,
Who's the unlucky teams that we'll be predicting right now?
oh my God. Vietnam, so sorry.
Egypt, so sorry. But I believe in you. Just fight my curse.
Yeah, me too. Fight my curse. Because for me, why I choose Vietnam?
Yeah.
From the previous game or even today, they're performing really well. Even though maybe not all the games they are performing well, they do not get the winner chicken dinner. But I think this is the time. This is closer to the end, and I hope Vietnam will show their best and get the winner chicken dinner.
I'm still scrolling about the latest. You have the latest score, right?
Okay.
So speaking of latest score, now we do know for the fact that since you're actually rooting for Vietnam, they're not safe either. Same goes for Egypt. We are in the same boat at the
10,
moment.
11.
Yeah, that's kind of true. So it's going to be them, and Bahrain is still playing for Group B. They can just overtake the side of Egypt and Vietnam, both of them. Libya actually do have a bit of a gap. But if you compare it with Bahrain, Korea is the closest to drag down Vietnam and Egypt. Now, if I were in a different position, I'm probably going to root out for Bahrain, Korea. But it's going to feel so hard for the side of Vietnam and also Egypt. So for Mauritius, I think it's a bit of a long stretch.
Yeah, I think for Mauritius already quite far enough because
Yeah.
they even reached the triple-digit points for total. But I totally agree with you. Right now, I think like South Korea, Bahrain is under pressure. It's shown by how Bahrain do not do the best at the previous game, even though they are faster than Vietnam in rotation, but they still can't manage it. They still can't manage to find the best way. But again, may the best win the tournament or go to the grand final. Again, 2 games, still anything can happen. But I think the minimum point, if you want to be safe enough, is going for Libya. 141 points. Is it possible though for South Korea?
I mean, like, possible.
Also Bahrain. It's still possible, right?
I mean, like, it depends on how much they want to perform in one
yeah.
single game. I mean, like, at the same time, right, we're talking about even up to the point, I think Pakistan, Libya, Vietnam, Egypt is not safe either, provided the fact that they need to gain every single round some points. If Bahrain and Korea want to overtake them, they have to make sure this 4 or 5 team will be eliminated first. If not, it's going to be a long shot for the side of Bahrain and even Korea.
So, I'm curious, will be a push or the same drop spot when it comes to the late game like this? Because they really want the point. Can they just drop to the opponents, the closest one, same drop spot?
I mean, like, if they are confident enough, why not?
Yeah.
If they are confident enough, because why? If they did the wrong thing there and they jeopardize the entire team, it's going to be the reverse.
Oh, yeah.
And they're contributing more points towards the side of a team that really one of the closest opening right now. So that's extremely risky. But if they want to, they can actually try to drop towards the team that might not have a shot in the grand finals.
Yeah, because with what I can see, the data already collected, so they knew where is the exact location of their closest opponents. Because I see that not only the players, some of the teams I think have their own officials. It can be coach, it can be analyst. So maybe something like that will happen, because back to PMRC, while Nova doing this, sorry, Infinity doing the same thing to Nova to close the gap, to ensure the champion coming for the team. I think, yeah, it's still possible to be done.
I mean, if I want to compare for PMRC, the pressure is totally different. That one is for the money. This one is just getting into grand final. This is more at stake. The money is secondary at this point. Right now, all you need to do is just squeeze into the top 11, but it's not an easy task. That provided you have to bring down the number 8 to 11th team. Now, these teams are the teams that won't sit quietly if you try to challenge them.
Oh, don't sit quietly if try to be challenged or try to challenge. So that's a really good words, I guess, for those teams, because they are stepping up right now. They won the grand final, and I really agree with Chuchu. They are not just defending, but they are quite active right now. But I don't know about Bahrain especially. They have a lot of chance today.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to Miramar, I think their specialty. And next one is Miramar again for Bahrain, because high ground control, one of the strongest, I guess, still for Bahrain.
You know what? I really want to see what Bahrain have to offer on the table. Let's jump straight into our last Miramar in the play-in. Starting off in the screen here, we do have Jordan team. Now, I love the fact you pointed out about Bahrain team. This is what they're most comfortable at. This is their forte. And this is supposed to be the match. They really had it in their grasp.
Yeah, totally. They do not want to waste this match. They want to play the best of them, especially for the flat path like this, helping for Bahrain, because what I knew earlier, Bahrain is a team who did the drop spot towards the power grid area, the scrapping area around that place, and they are playing quite safe. Same with Pakistan. Oh, no, Bahrain is not there. Bahrain is going to another place, but Pakistan, near the power grid area, maybe can play at the central. But again, Pakistan is not playing because there's no group A in here. Maybe Bahrain can do the strategy, and I think I see the way coming for Bahrain right now.
They will love to drop around on the northern side of Power Grid or around Hasidah de Patron. So that's quite a view that they got themselves there. They love the high ground so much. It's one of the most vintage point in the map itself. And if you guys just join us, if you guys asking, I did actually read the chat as well. Group A is no more playing for the play-ins. Most of them actually qualify for the grand finals, but they have to wait for the other groups not to take them down. We might actually have La Bandita or Minas General Circle.
Yep. This is a really right part of the map circle. It still favors a lot of team, especially who would drop down fast from the flight path, because it's easy for them, like in we can say that Impala, Minas Generales, even Los Leones itself, still inside the circle. But Maldives, one of the team that is stepping up also today, right now near the El Azhar area, still inside the circle, but be that way is not that good. And moving towards Chumacera, finally at the higher top of Chumacera, two teams are colliding, I think, for a while, because Guatemala and also Vietnam in the same spot.
I do know the kill feed sounds a bit confusing for you guys. Djibouti will not be playing, as they having a bit of issues regarding their health as well, so they will be sitting out, but it's not violating any rules so far. But it's still, I remember their first day performance. They are one of the teams that should be highlighted as well if they got the chance to play next time. Now back to the other teams. We're down to 11 teams there. And speaking of which, Maldives before, right? They were in the bottom back then. They pushed themselves quite high up in the second and third day here. Now that's something that we should look up to, because they got themselves quite in the comfy spot in the top 6.
Yeah, totally true. When it comes to Maldives, a lot of things happen, I think, for this team. Their confidence is growing up each day, and I really enjoy that, because they need it. even though they can go to the final or they can go to they proceeds to the final, they need it. They need the confidence because tomorrow will be a different game. Still with PUBG Mobile, but will be different because the participants is not easy anymore. The participants of PMGC, the best of the region, they did not want to play normally. But back to Ghana. One of the player, Mufasa, actually quite far from the other one, but South Korea, this will be a very easy one because fourth player from South Korea shooting
No,
towards
no.
Ghana, and Mufasa too open without any obstacle. The first elimination, the first point for this game coming for South Korea.
This is really unfortunate on the side of Ghana, having such a tough spot to start with. But back to the side of Korea, they're having a good run here. Definitely got themselves 1 point to start. Very good momentum. Just going to tone up the entire rest of the match here in a different tone. On the side of Guatemala, we do have Jaro scouting over the rest of Vietnam team. Now, we did have another contender for the FMVP. We call it ourselves FMVP this time.
FMVP,
Yeah.
okay.
For our entire series here. We do have the #1 spot by coming up from Jordan player. Lath, and
Yeah.
as well as Chuan coming from Vietnam, which
Yeah.
both have very similar damage output. I think Lath is more towards 1.7k of damage output, 1.6 towards the side of Chua. But when it comes to eliminations, they are both the same, 12 eliminations the most.
That was so huge when it comes to an individual record. I mean, it is not easy when you are doing it at Classic. They are doing it at a world stage at the IESF. So, really amazing performance coming from both of the players. But again, is Vietnam safe enough? Because I think for Jordan, they already quite enjoy their position. The latest or the starting for them for today is actually at the top 3. So I think it's quite safe to say Jordan will proceed to the grand final. But Vietnam needs a lot of points, even though most of the game today they played really well. But again, they are not starting the game or they are not starting IESF well. So that way, they need to fulfill all the points they need at the last day like this.
You know what? If they can actually do this, just to point out regarding the overall ranking, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and Libya actually in Group A. They're all 3 teams are having the average of 145 to 140 points. Now, if Vietnam, Egypt, Bahrain, even Korea can cut across more than 140, all the other 4 teams just now I mentioned will be pushed down.
Oh, yeah.
And that's worse because Group A can't do anything anymore.
Yeah, especially at the last 3 games. So that way, that's the conclusion. Like I already mentioned a lot at the beginning of Miramar, Libya. I think this is the closest contender when it comes to the points because Libya can't do any more fights, can't do any more match because they are from Group A. So, yeah, maybe we'll see how the story goes
I
because
mean, like it's not that far for them to chase that much out anyway,
Totally.
because it's just 5 to 6 points different.
let's see then, because I'm curious as well. Anything can happen. Anything can happen because I think we are starting to discuss about like HVVP. We are starting to discuss about Vampire. So
Infinity, oh my god, that's worse.
Yeah, so up until the last game, we still can't choose like the top 11, except the top 5 so far, I guess.
And I don't want to be in Group A right now because you're waiting and praying for somebody to go down.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the worst feeling. You can't control it because you're not playing. And that's the worst part. And that's good for Jordan. They are number 3 right now. They don't have a care in the world. All they got is like, we're waiting for the grand finals. And speaking of grand finals, the 5 teams waiting, definitely they are revising
Oh.
the rotation of all the teams are playing here today.
Oh, totally true. Because yesterday, I met Indonesian coach,
Oh,
which is
there you
Nandi.
go.
So
Spill the tea.
Nandi said to me that today him and also all the players just want to see all the games coming from the contenders, coming from the play-ins participants. So yeah, I think this will be interesting fact. So there is a data. There are datas collected by the players, and I think it is not only for the Indonesian teams because we saw Fireflux already here since the beginning. So yeah, they are following all the matches.
All the matches.
Yeah, from the play-ins.
And the best part is these players that playing for the play-ins right now have no clue how it tastes like to to fight against these players, and they haven't got any data regarding their rotations. But the players are still waiting for the grand finals. Pretty much have every single data of every single player playing right now. They definitely have the advantage. Maybe they're just getting a bit rusty if they're not playing for the past few days.
Oh, that's a good point. I mean, when the players or the top 5 that will proceed to the grand final, besides the play-in, they do not play anything else. I mean, like the matches, the scrim, or something like that. Maybe that's the downfall coming from them. But from what I knew, all the players, even the grand finalists, besides the play-ins, already held by the sponsor, which is Samsung. So they already have the Samsung S22 Ultra with them right now. So they can try the phone.
Oh man, they
Yeah.
got time to adjust to it as well.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna see who's getting the advantage. But back to us, our circle. Now, jokes and chit chat aside, we're back to us around Minas Generales circle. But the rest of the team still having a fair share of the zone. But it's going to be Vietnam taking on Guatemala. David being knocked down by Tuanzi. Nam Shin will be ambushed by Cheo. Jairu on the other end, no helmet, no problem.
Yeah, no helmet, no problem for now. But we'll see later because it's not that easy to beat the players or the teams that just performed quite well from the previous game. But the trade happened, I think. One player for Guatemala and also one for Vietnam. And I think it shows that this is not a good situation for both of the parties because the zone already moving toward the second one. And both of the parties do not have any intention right now to move toward the circle. They want this long fight, and again, fighting outside of the circle will never give you benefit, a full one. Even though you win the fight, sometimes you lost your player, sometimes you lost your momentum towards the circle. So we'll see. Will Vietnam or Guatemala will play well with this condition at the beginning?
It's all 3 teams right now in the blue zone. We're talking about around 1 kilometer, so 1,000 meters away from the safe zone. It's quite far off. Provided they have vehicles, it's going to be okay for now. But for Jordan, Sawi trying to just put down on Iraq players. Kalaga is always overpicking himself. But Ragnarok, he can't even pick left, right, and center. Here comes Bahrain. They're in dire need of the point. Every single point treated as a dime. They're moving in unison, unfolding what's in front of them. Trying to take down one of the top teams out there in the top 3, Jordan. Sawi just going to relay back the information to the rest of the roster. But will Iraq take advantage of this situation?
Oh, that's a big question because, you know, when one player being knocked down and being eliminated as an elimination, it shows the team, which is shows the country right now. So if Iraq calculate quite well and hearing the gunshot, I think they should be know there is less player coming from the other team, which is Jordan. And I think Iraq want to try the fight because we can see Kalaga. Kalaga is the guy always doing the fight, even without any good scopes, he's still shooting. So yeah, Kalaga already started it, but I don't know, maybe still pulling back towards another place because they know this is still unworthy fight. They're still not inside the best position inside the circle. So let's see, because Jordan, at the same time, I think they do not move a lot. They do not do the aggression need to be done when it comes to a close combat, which is with Iraq right now.
Yeah, for Iraq, they're really just poking around Jordan's side, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
left, right, and center. They're just bluffing around Jordan, making them confused. While Bahrain being focused on towards the Jordan side, they're being hammed down here. They need to get out for Jordan if they want to survive. But I mean, like, this is Jordan. We do know that they can get into the grand finals either way. But the one that's really in dire need is going to be both. Bahrain, Iraq is there as well. Is Iraq is one of the teams that actually in dire need of points? I don't think so.
I don't think so because starting off the day, they are at a top 4 situation, and we know that Iraq is really aggressive. A lot of elimination coming to this team, but still, right now, Jordan, what a lot of utility. Even one of the players had 5 smokes and 5 nades. And again, when you do fight a lot, you intend to attract someone. Which one right now is Chinese Taipei? So Jordan left alone with only 2 players because one of the players being taken down by Chinese Taipei, who heard the fight, want to join and interrupting it quite well.
It's going to be urban warfare, by the way. We'll be right on top of Los Leones. It's going to be a really hard circle to play with because of how many buildings they are right now for them to just corner from one corner to the other. But Hong coming up from Chinese Taipei, they try to pick a lot of fights on every corner possible. Korean is just trying to get himself into the warehouse nearby. But the one that actually being ambushed is going to be back again to the side of Guatemala, down to only one player. The other two being knocked down and bleeding out. Nobody going to save them for now. Bahrain, on the other hand, they are so desperate. We can actually sniff it from the table itself. Because why? They're just trying to get up more eliminations. They so far only got one, but they've been trying to knock down on several teams by now. But can they translate it into one elimination?
Yup. I think Bahrain really changed their strategy. They are not going to the high ground anymore. They are playing to chasing the teams. But we are back to the other team, which is Guatemala. Two of the players just being knocked down because the explosion of the vehicle. Right now just left with Chevo. Chevo with a good shot, but what can he do when he's just alone fighting all the players from Egypt? So nice try for Guatemala. What a good fight coming from Egypt.
I bet right now Group A is biting their nails as Egypt gaining more elimination points, and they definitely can push up when it comes to the overall rankings later. They are one of the very few that actually have the chance to get in the top 11 in the last minute here. We're talking about even Maldives. They have been doing okay. So far, they are stable enough to stay at the top 11. But the thing is, if they keep giving on to us, maybe Egypt or maybe even Bahrain at this point, you know what? Somebody will be pushed down eventually.
Yeah, this is quite interesting when it comes to the Group B versus C, or even in total or in general when it comes to the play-ins leaderboard, because at the beginning of the tournament, of the play-ins, the top players are just the same. Saudi, Brunei, just repetitive. But when it comes to the second, especially third day today, it changed. But Maldives, two players being taken down by Iraq. This team is really aggressive. There's a counter shot coming from Maldives, but it doesn't work so well because Kalaga is so slippery. He can move around and it is not being taken down. Even the Mali is connected and finished by the shot coming from a vault. Again, vaulting the player from Maldives, left alone with only one player, which is Toxin.
It's too far for Toxin to help the rest of the team right now. I saw how Kalaga did that, and then Toxin just revealed himself. Iraq will not let them go and definitely will chase him to the end of the world. And Toxin still got himself a buggy. He can actually just build this one out. It's too late for him to actually help the rest of the roster. They are gone and dusted by now. But for Iraq, though, they're still on the run. We're talking about Los Leones, already taken by Bahrain, Jordan, as well as the Koreans here. But back to us, Sawi. Spot out by Choto. This is what they needed for Bahrain.
That was a very precise shot. It's Scar L. It is not easy to control rather than M4, but Choto Mate again doing a very good job. One more elimination for Bahrain. So 2 elimination already collected, and Bahrain still in a good spot. But Jordan at the same time only left with one player, and it is not an easy way because the circle intends to go to the city. So if you are just left alone and being pushed by a full party, that will be a big problem, big trouble for your team.
Now, speaking of Vietnam team, right, they are being a bit conservative right now, and they can't do that right at the last 2 games. Because why? The points, if they just garnered from the side of position points, it won't be enough.
Oh, yeah.
They really need to rank up by doing a lot of eliminations, a lot more proactive movement coming out from them. But Iraq getting on Toxin, that's going to be entire team decimated in the hands of Iraq. Again, they garnered 4 points by now. And for Eagles, Vietnam, we did mention about them. They happen to be sharing the place with Egypt. Both teams that in dire need, even Bahrain. Now, this is going to be the 3 teams that couldn't afford to lose early.
But coming to Vietnam, it is very surprising for me about their rotation. They're going from Chumacera, and right now they can be at Los Leones without losing any more players, because the one player being taken down is actually when they fought with Guatemala. But this is what I'm worried about when it comes to Los Leones. And you already left with only 3 or even 2 players. But the other enemy, the other opponents, do a comet push like this. It's not easy because the way from the chair from the gate itself, you can do it, and from the other hole coming from the compound, you still can do it. So be careful, Bahrain, because Egypt really moving as a unit.
At the same time, I'm like, if I were in their position for Vietnam,
this what I'm
Bahrain,
talking
and
about.
Egypt, from the get-go, I wouldn't put myself in the center because it's just too risky here. Saying this for all these three teams. You're talking about Chrono might reveal himself when he tried to scope out, while Lut already waiting with a Vector now. Can they, do they realize that they're being watched over by Bahrain team? Now, Krona definitely being shut down from afar. We're talking about Hassan.
Oh, no.
Why? Is that Hassan? Why? You're not supposed to do that. In
That was-
front on the face of the enemy.
I mean, that was a big mistake and really changed the situation, because Hassan suddenly being knocked down, and I think it is not easy to be revived. Even Salman being taken down. There is a counter fire coming from Team Bahrain.
No.
But again, the position is being spotted. Ooh, that was so close. Walud still do the healing, but when he raised the hand to do the mat kit for the healing, it is spotted by the other enemies. So that way, Iraq again getting the biggest result, the biggest benefit from this fight.
And the worst part is all the teams are fighting here quite far off from the circle. And the one actually dominating the circle is going to be Iraq team. And they got themselves quite separated, spreading out wide angle on the side of Jordan. They take it down on Egypt, who's also in the dire need of the points. And they are slowly slipping. And one by one taken down like flies here. Back to us Chinese Taipei. They're definitely getting themselves in the grand finals. Definitely not having that mounted pressure. But on the side of Mauritius is a different story. Vortex finished off by Changfu with the Scar L right beneath him. They're on top of each other, but back to a Sky. And also Lord, they're trying to go for the flank side, but it's just too high for the mountains.
Yup, for Chinese Taipei right now, they have a big problem. They need to move from this mountain. They need to move from this hill, but look at those shots coming from all the enemies around. Chinese Taipei still have the minifan, want to move, but Skydo just want to go inside the circle, doing some healing with first aid, but spotted again by Iraq. I think Iraq really have a good spot right now, cutting all the rotation and getting a lot of eliminations.
I feel like Iraq is really going all out this time. And Kalaga is going to face off to the entire team of Chinese Taipei actually. He's just going to be the bait for the entire team, giving away the position. But Kalaga being finished off straight away. Huangshan making sure that Kalaga, you can't bluff us anymore. No more silly plays here. And for the side of Iraq, they definitely kind of segregated between themselves. Gaga already waiting for Jordans. They're waiting instead of compound singers for the Korea side and the Vietnam team. They are playing very safe because they realize what position they are in right now. They cannot afford to lose one more member.
Yeah, totally, they are not safe yet, so that way they need to play quite safe. But speaking of safe, I think it is not happening for Bahrain because a lot of fight happened, but the molly, if it is a nade, again Hassan will do the same mistake from before. But Salman with the nade already cooked quite well, but we are saying right there, IESF just being hit by the nade, and it hits a lot of his health point. But moving again to Arthur. Arthur is usually or oftenly from Egypt. He is the one being the investment to go toward the circle and save for the placement. But right now, Arthur is quite aggressive, but the nade coming from Chotto, again giving a lot of damage, but Chotto still can be found by the players of Egypt.
Now, playing with the projector, that was perfect. Just what a Kobe with that angle. That was almost impossible to be done, but he just knows so well the calculation of the projectile of each of his utilities. Back to the side of Egypt. Now they're cooking up the nade, open up a smoke, but they need to save their friend. At the same time, Krona crying for help as Salman kind of stuck in between. Choto still on the high grounds, on the elevations. They got himself on top of the stairs. Choto cooking up the nade. Now going to toss over to the side of Egypt, but this time he won't need a bit too far off. Krona managed to be reset for the meantime. Chota being actually caught off by the side of Ghana from afar.
And this is not a good situation for both of the parties, even for Ghana, because they need to go toward the circle. Less than 10 seconds, it will moving toward the 7th circle. And you know, the DPS is not that easy to be taken with. But look at the movement from Egypt. One being taken down again from Bahrain. There's no backup because even from Hassan, he knows he really need to go toward the circle right now. But Hassan is too open. Iraq player from the high ground can spot in. Even the shot coming from backside is still on point. But look at Volt again, vaulting towards all the players in Bahrain. Need to finish at the 8th position.
From the pan to the fire. That's what happened to Bahrain. They really exposed themselves way too much. Now things are going really dim for Bahrain as they're eliminated entirely. But Egypt, is it going to be next for them in Vietnam? Both 3 teams, just now we mentioned, all of them are kind of being cornered. Next one being eliminated is going to be Chinese Taipei. But for Iraq, though, they don't have a care in the world. They keep on hunting every single thing that moves.
A lot of benefits coming for Reva right now. The M4 4-time scope is really strong. Even right now, he wants the South Korean players, but I really like the logic. He knows he need to get down to the service of the Miramar itself, because he knows the high ground is not safe anymore. It is at the edge of the circle, so he needs to move, but move to Fault right now. He is holding the position. Player from Egypt, one already being knocked down, but one more. Other is spotted with the nade 2. One blow up right there, and that's
perfect.
it. The end. But I think it's coming actually from South Korea. So
both of them. It's
both
a
of
two-way
them,
war.
both of them. One elimination coming for Egypt and one more for South Korea.
Back to the side of Korea. They got themselves inside of the warehouse, but Nanjing being finished off by Iran. Volt is everywhere. Volt is just hunting everyone. It's going to be Iraq chasing the tails of every single team. They're running away from them. Will trying to hide himself in the... Oh, never mind. It's going to be Vietnam next to be the victims of Iraq. Volt again. What is happening? This guy is just going crazy.
How can that be? The players, opponents of Fault is to the prone and shooting, so it is so easy. But look at South Korea right now. Matboy will be the last man standing. The Molly is there, one still being knocked down, and Iraq really controlled the game. Even already collected 15 elimination at the late game. This is so big coming for Iraq because they are already safe, but they still play really well.
Feels like they've been sort of having a exorcist moment right now for the Iraq. They're being demonized right now. Iraq, golden ticket down on one of the Ghana players. They're down to 2 teams there. We're down to only Iraq versus, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be Jordan, possibly. I'm not sure. But back to the side of Iraq, they still have 3 players. And now they might breaking the elimination record. Gaga versus the entirety of Iraq. It's going to be Gaga versus the world. 3v1. He got Volt! Gaga shot down with a Sky. Ticket on 1, 2 more to go. River spot him out. Gaga! Can he build this? Can he actually just swerve himself to the other way? Light, right, left, and center. Sorry. Golden and River just might ham him down. Gaga playing in some spot. He took him out. Gaga with my boozy, but it's going to be Iraq. Might getting themselves a new record entirely for the eliminations.
What a play coming from Iraq, especially at the late game. Even though one player being knocked down, but they're still turned the table again. The backstep is not happening well, and that's how a teamwork need to be done. I mean, like 2 different angles, so it's so hard for Gaga, but for Gaga, it's the best effort you can do.
It's not up to the late level.
Yeah, it's not up to the late level, but
sorry, Gaga.
going to the top 2. Going to the top 2 is still a big win for Jordan, though. Yeah?
I mean, like, you know what the funny part is? All the teams right now are really comfortable in the top 11. They are the one who are really desperate for the points. I mean, like, we're not getting the points more in the grand finals. It's going to start off as a clean slate anyways. But the one that really made me a bit baffling for me, it's going to be the teams that's in the dire need, in the red zone, in the danger zone. We talked about Egypt, Vietnam, Bahrain. Specifically these 3 teams, even Korea even. And these 3 teams, they happen to be clumping up together.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in their case, they should have played it a bit slower, just play it a bit at the rim of the blue zone or at the rim of the circle, just to make sure that they will avoid every unnecessary fight as much as possible.
I think Vietnam already did it quite well, but at this particular match, Guatemala is there. Who knows, right? Because usually Chumacera will be only for Vietnam, but Guatemala just changed it all. But like you already mentioned earlier, it's kind of interesting coming for the match. South Korea, Bahrain, Vietnam, how can they do the fight at the late game and fight each other, which they need the points, the points so much.
That's the funny part. I mean, like, it feels like they can smell the desperation between themselves. They're kind of being the compass and navigate themselves among, like, they're attracted to each other.
Oh yeah, it's kind of luring, right?
Yeah.
Luring each other.
We're playing a different game now, huh?
Oh yeah.
Gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them all.
But back towards the three teams, Bahrain, Egypt, and Vietnam. They happen to be clumping up together and they're fighting against each other. And the worst part is, all three of these teams died by the other teams that are actually up there.
Especially Iraq and Jordan, though.
I mean, is that why they are down there? How their mindset is like, if you compare with the teams up there, it's so different of place.
Yeah, but I can't blame three of the teams because they are under the big pressure. Again, going to the top 11, the games is just only one after this, which is Sunhawk. But yeah, congratulations for Iraq. I think it is still the same record with Saudi Arabia, 17 elimination. There isn't any team so far at play-ins who can achieve more than 17 2-2.
We do not have enough teams for that, possibly.
I think that's the big part.
We have to emphasize on that.
Yeah.
But if you look at the match ranking just now, Bahrain only gained 3 points in total. If you compare with Egypt, who got 10 and 9 for Vietnam as well. So this is going to be really detrimental for Bahrain. This is going to be punishing for them because they are not up there yet. If you look at their overall ranking right now, they are on 12. So where do they stand after this? Even Korean teams getting themselves 12 points there, they definitely will be pushed down. So like it or not, for the next match, they have to break the record. They have to get more than 20 elimination points.
I guess so. Like you already mentioned earlier, it's not only about the placement when it comes to the last game like this. They need to be brutal. They need to got a lot of eliminations, you know?
Bro,
What is
eliminations gain more than position point ranking if you can do it.
Yeah.
Even like, 17 eliminations. The most you can get a chicken is just 15.
15, yeah. But it's not easy though to take down all the players, especially for the team like Iraq, like Jordan. They're already safe. They can play freely without any pressure. So I think that's a big concern to Chuchu.
Yeah, I think maybe Masgar have the solution for it because he got the not lonely chicken.
Oh yeah?
The two
I am Batutu chicken. So yeah.
They don't want to be that lonely. I think they need that chicken right now. From maybe Masgar can buy them that chicken to boost up their morale. But back to our top 4 teams, Iraq, Jordan, Korea, and Ghana finally start to show up in the last 2 matches there.
Yeah, even though it's quite late, but I really enjoy how the team that are under pressure, they are not performing for about 2 whole days, they still can show the quality of them.
You know what? These teams, they should have been put in the last ranking since the first day, so they keep on under pressure all the time.
Oh, okay. So they are performing when they are under pressure, you mean?
So, you know what? Just let them have 0 points every single round so that they're always under pressure.
So it's like you do not reveal their points, right? Just play lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they should put it that way for the sake of the team. Now, for our overall stats, this is quite high compared with Group A.
Okay.
The usual average we have is like 35 to 40. This is a bit more than usual. So it shows that how much these teams really want to garner their elimination points, but it just happened to be the same mindset.
Yeah, I mean, it's shown by how Egypt catching up to Bahrain, really won the elimination. So I think the fight quite a lot, but back again, the fight is coming from the team who needs a lot of points and finished by the team that already collected a lot, like Iraq, Jordan. So it's unfortunate for those teams.
And now what Okay, we're gonna be Volt. Yeah, Volt. Volt is revolting in this match. You know what? For the MVP, 1,506 damage. Now, we do have the most damage is 1,007 by the side of Lathe before.
Yeah.
This doesn't tally up when it comes to eliminations.
Yep,
now, this is gonna be our MVP. Oh, look at that mask. This looks really, really good, by the way. This is gonna be Volt. And you're deserving for this match. Woo!
Amazing coming from Volt. I think behind the mask, he's smiling, right?
Is it really?
He's smiling,
How do
right?
you know?
I know.
How do you know?
I know.
This is like
No. I think from the expression coming from the face. I mean, Volt shown us not only from the previous game.
Yeah.
I mean, for the second day especially, Volt is a very strong player with his performance.
I mean, like, if you look at Iraq for the entire team, every single person have their own respective role that we can very distinctly see. Like, example,
Kalaga.
Kalaga, he's the bluffer for the team.
Yeah.
He's the one who bait out all the enemies by doing something unusual.
Unusual.
It's always Gaga and Volt doing the work at the flank side.
I mean, like Kalaga making the enemies confused. Like, is it a fight or how he is so exposed, how he's so open, but suddenly Gaga and also like Volt is coming and shooting towards the other direction and surprise the enemy.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is something that we can learn as well. Hopefully the other teams can actually make it another go for their last match in Sunhawk later. But before we go into the last match for our players, we're going to toss it back to our Mas Gary with his tutu chicken. Take it away, Mas Gary.
Take it away, Masker.
Thank you once again, Chuchu and Eldoke. Of course, congratulations for Iraq. And the MVP is also from Iraq. What a good game. We still have one more round for today. PUBG Mobile on IESF World Esports Championship Bali 2022 on Fire Stage. So, we're going to have a commercial break. But I still have one question about ayam. Ayam-ayam apa yang pernah menjelajah keluar angkasa? No, ayam-ayam apa yang sudah pernah menjelajah keluar angkasa? No, it's not I am strong, but I am Groot. Still on IESF 14 World Esports Championship, Bali 2022.